The episode opens with raw emotion as Jhanak finally meets Parashar. The moment she sees him, her composure breaks. Her voice trembles as she tells him how deeply she missed him and how alone she has felt in this fight. Parashar, equally moved, reassures her that he will stay close. He even promises to book a room in Kolkata so he can remain beside her throughout the case. Jana clings to that promise and tells him she has no one else in this world. For her, Parashar is her only father. She makes it clear that this legal battle is not about money, status, or Anirudh's wealth. She is here to prove that Annirudh is a liar and to secure justice for Nutan. She firmly repeats that she does not care about Annirudh at all. Parashar hugs her and assures her that he will always stand by her, not just as a supporter, but as her father. Rishi steps in and offers to arrange accommodation for Parashar, but Parashar politely refuses. He reminds Rishi that he already owes him more than he can repay because, without Rishi's efforts, the case would never have reached the courtroom. Before the conversation can settle, Damu and Kanka arrive with a few villagers. Jhanak immediately grows tense and questions Parashar about Kanka's presence, reminding him that Kanka never liked her or Nutan. Parashar calms her and asks her not to worry. The assistant arrives and takes Jhanak and Rishi inside the courtroom. Inside, the magistrate addresses Jhanak seriously. He mentions he is aware of what Annirudh allegedly tried to do to her. Jhanak speaks with clarity and strength, stating she is not fighting for herself, but for Nutan, whose truth was buried even after death. She emphasizes she wants only the DNA test and nothing else. She does not want Anirudh's property or money. The magistrate listens carefully and asks his assistant to call Annirudh and his lawyer. The assistant returns and informs him that neither has arrived yet. The magistrate asks whether Janak's villagers have come. She nods. He instructs Jhanak and Rishi to wait outside and calls Parashar inside. Parashar's testimony begins. The magistrate asks him to explain his relationship with Nutan. Parashar narrates how he met Nutan and Aditi on a bus and brought them to Simalboni. He explains that since only villagers are allowed to stay there, he lied and introduced Nutan as his wife. When asked about his occupation, he lies again, saying he was a farmer. He continues that Annirudh arrived in Simalboni 5 years later for a project and met Nutan. Annirudh stayed in the village lodge for a few days and later left with Aditi, whom Parashar says is Annirudh and Arshi's daughter. The magistrate asks what happened next, and Parashar reveals that Annirudh returned to Simalboni again later. At that moment, Annirudh arrives late in court and apologizes. The magistrate is unimpressed and asks him to wait outside, commenting on his lack of respect for family court proceedings. Annirudh apologizes again. His lawyer requests permission to stay inside, and the magistrate finally calls everyone in. Parashar drops a bombshell by claiming that Annirudh married Nutan after telling her he was divorced from Arshi. He presents marriage photographs as proof. The magistrate accepts the photos and states that Nutan's letter will also be considered valid evidence. The courtroom atmosphere becomes heavy with tension. Away from the court, Aditi spirals in fear, recalling Janak's confident demand for a DNA test. Anjana tries to comfort her, but Aditi refuses food and accuses Jhanak of destroying everything. She questions why Nutan lied before dying. Anjana defends Nutan, saying she never lies. When Aditi asks if Jhanak is Annirudh and Nutan's daughter, Anjana avoids answering. Aditi leaves shaken. A.T. Rishi's house. Payal tells Tanushree and Abhimanyu that society is mocking them, accusing Rishi of misusing his power. Neela blames Jhanak for everything and compares Rishi to Pathul's abusive husband, Arvind. Pathul snaps back and defends Rishi. Neelu reveals what Tanushree witnessed on Christmas night. Abhimanyu is furious and demands answers. Tanushree admits she hid the truth to protect Rishi. Abhimanyu gives an ultimatum. Rishi must choose between Jhanak and Aditi. Elsewhere, Aditi panics over Anirudh's switched-off phone and fears the DNA test result. Arshi reassures her, confidently declaring Jhanak is nothing and Aditi is the only daughter of the house. The episode ends with tension everywhere. The episode opens inside the courtroom. Parashar states that Anirudh and Nutan were married and that Nutan told him about her pregnancy on their wedding night. Anirudh accused her of betrayal and walked away. Parashar clarifies that Jhanak carries his surname only because he gave Nutan and her child social protection. He firmly states Jhanak is Anirudh's biological daughter. Anirudh's lawyer argues there is no proof of consummation. Jhanak calmly brings the lodge manager, who confirms Anirudh stayed with Nutan. Villagers support Nutan's truth. Kenka produces Nutan's old letters. The magistrate asks Anirudh to respond. Cornered, Anirudh agrees to a DNA test. The court orders it. Outside, Kenka apologizes to Jhanak and reveals Parashar has been sent away due to police pressure. Parashar emotionally bids Jhanak farewell. Anirudh confronts him later, exposing his real identity and accusing Nutan and Parashar of plotting together. Jhanak fiercely defends her mother. Days later, Jhanak tells Rishi she will leave the city once the truth comes out. Aditi declares she will throw Jhanak out once the test proves negative. The DNA results arrive, positive. Jhanak proves Nutan was not a liar and refuses to accept Anirudh as her father. Anirudh is shattered. Jhanak hands the DNA report to Rishi, while Anirudh absorbs the truth. He realizes Jhanak is his daughter and that he destroyed Nutan's life due to ego. He hands the report to Aditi and Arshi. Aditi breaks down. Arshi accuses Anirudh of lying for years. Anirudh admits he was wrong and confesses he once tried to kill Jhanak. He says Jhanak deserves everything. Arshi asks if Jhanak will be the legal heir. Anirudh confirms it. Aditi begs him to deny being Janak's father. He refuses but says Aditi is still the daughter he loves most. A.T. Rishi's place. Jhanak feels peace, but wishes Nutan were alive. A press conference is arranged to restore Nutan's dignity. Aditi declares she wants peace, not wealth, and leaves Anirudh shattered. A.T. the press conference. Jhanak announces the truth, but refuses to accept Anirudh or his wealth. The media questions Rishi. Just then, Anirudh arrives. The episode ends.